Hi guys, welcome to Phaseshift devlog number 3. So this version is all about online multiplayer. It was a bit of a big one. There's two main points of this version. So the first one was actually understanding how multiplayer works and integrating Photon and all that kind of good stuff. And the second one was refactoring Phaseshift to actually accept multiple human players. And that was also a big one. So yeah, the first one with Photon, a lot of that was just kind of learning how it works and how to integrate it in. So obviously at the moment I'm kind of used to, I'm using Unity, managing all of the game objects, all of the states, and then all of the components attached to those game objects. And that's fine, I get that. But with multiplayer, you are connecting to other kind of instances of the game, and then you're having to, you got multiple game engine instances. Each one has their own game objects, each one has their own components attached to those game objects, and it gets a little bit scrambled. So a lot of it was kind of understanding what was actually going on and how to sync it all and how to kind of make it work essentially. So Photon has a master server that you connect to, and then a client creates a room. They then become the master client, so they become effectively the leader for the group, if you like, and then clients then join that room. And then you can sort of create your session from there, and you sync objects, with each client throughout the room for each session. So my initial idea was when you go into a session, the master client instantiates all of the player objects for each client, taking into account their settings, their customization options, and then transfers ownership across. That just did not work at all because the initial location or the spawn points of these objects just didn't sync correctly, and it was a bit of a mess. And transferring of ownership was also a bit of a mess. Something I'm trying to avoid for the future, I think. So yeah, it didn't work out. The second try seemed to work, or it works now anyway, and that is have each player instantiate their own player object. So this kind of baffled me a little bit because it's quite difficult to kind of sync spawn locations across, so they kind of spawned in different locations. So I kind of built this spawn manager that kind of handles all of the locations where the player can spawn. So of course on Phaseshift at the moment, that's just a grid, and I use the index, or the number of which the player entered the room, as an index for the to iterate through the array, and that kind of worked really well. So that was quite good. It kind of worked. And then after that, once the players instantiate their own player, they have to tell everybody else that they've been instantiated, and then to use these settings. So you kind of instantiating and then initializing twice, one for your local player that you control, and then secondly for the clients also in the session. So that took a long time to get my head around. It's quite a confusing concept, but yeah, it kind of makes sense now. So at the moment the multiplayer does work. There's no weapons or anything yet though, there's just racing because of the sheer volume of game objects that are created when weapons are used. Of course there's lots of them, and they're all using the physics engine. It would get a bit chaotic, so I want to make sure the racing is pretty close, it's pretty lag free, it's pretty instantaneous before I get onto weapons and things. So that's Photon. Photon was really good. I totally recommend it. I think it's a brilliant thing. Interfaces really well with the Unity as well, so it's a brilliant little tool. As far as the refactor goes, yeah, I just had to kind of make sure Phaseshift could accept more than one human player. At the moment, or before, there was just a human that persisted throughout each scene, and then according to your customization options, it just kind of changed materials or numbers or whatever you chose. But now I've kind of copied the AI model, so each player is instantiated and then initialized dynamically per scene, depending on your scene settings and your player settings. So this kind of will hopefully pave the way for things like split screen as well, which is quite exciting. So yeah, my head's a bit messed up from 4 weeks of intense learning and multiplayer and all that kind of stuff. There's also additional things that I added, so game modes, 2 game modes to choose from now. There's team race and race. It was a bit of a framework to add other game modes in the future, so things like elimination. I want to kind of look at a really deathmatch style game mode, as well as a gauntlet, which I'm quite excited to work on soon, and also some UI improvements as well. A lot of that is because of the game modes, and of course the online stuff had to kind of make some room stuff where you join them, create them, all the kind of handling, as well as like error prompts and that kind of thing if things go wrong. So yeah, that's it for devlog number 3. There's a lot going on this version. Next version, I'm going to be doing something a little bit less brain intensive, some more kind of environments work and more creative stuff. So I'm going to work on the iceberg level, as well as create a new livery for one of the new AI teams, just to give my mind a little bit of a break, because that was a bit of a hardcore one. But yeah, thanks for watching. If you have any questions about multiplayer or Photon or anything, please don't hesitate to message me or comment or whatever. I'll try and get back to you. I'm by no means a wizard at this stuff, so yeah, take my advice with a pinch of salt. But yeah, thanks for watching. If you could like and subscribe and all that YouTube good stuff, that would really help me out, and I'll see you next time. Catch you later.